Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Doctors are predicting another surge as more contagious variants of the virus take hold, now confirmed in 35 states. The White House is urging healthcare providers not to hold back second shots.
There are no doses that are hanging around. A dose that's available is going to go into someone's arm.
At nursing homes, the CDC found only 38% of workers accepted the vaccine when it was first offered.
Yeah, how about that? Yesterday, we're talking about it. Doctors, more and more of them are coming out and saying what? Hey, you know what? Let's get these shots into people's arms. Let's give these shots out to people because it's the best thing. We'd rather have a bunch of people with some sort of chance at full immunity, or at least give them the opportunity that if they do catch this, they're not going to be sick, which is good.
We still want to get 2 doses in everyone, but I think right now, in advance of this surge, we need to get as many 1 doses in as many people over 65 as we possibly can to reduce serious illness and deaths that are going to occur over the weeks ahead.
Yes. Which I got a lot of pushback from people. Well, why would you do that? Well, it's simple. Remember when we stayed home let's go back a year, right? Almost a year to the day. We stayed home in a lot of places. We were going to, some places starting to really feel it. And by March, we were all going to flatten the curve. A couple weeks. Lo and behold, never really flattened the curve. And why were we flattening the curve? Because the crunch we were going to put onto the healthcare system. Year out, we're still having issues. Now we have the UK variant and the South African variant that are on our shores. Are they more deadly? Not quite sure. I was listening to Talk Sport on Sunday, and that's a station over in England. I used to work they used to call it Talk Radio UK. Now it's called Talk Sport. And I was listening to soccer, and they were talking about the transfer news and all the stuff that's going on over there. And in one of the commercials, one of the headline news things, they do news at the top of the hour, said that the UK variant is not deadlier, but there's a chance that it could spread easier. So that being said, getting people the shot, whether it be 1 or 2, we'd love to give everybody the 2 shots they need. This is why I keep saying Johnson & Johnson's the game changer. It's convenient, and it offers you 66% will be able to essentially not get the virus. It's going to block it. Shing! Right? The shield goes up, force field. Some people may get it. And out of the people that get it, chances of you getting really sick or going to the hospital are virtually none because you'll have some protection. Moderna and Pfizer, anywhere between 50 to 60% protection on the first shot. So you're getting some protection, but because you've had it, it's also going to give you a layer of protection should you catch it. That's why if you give it to a bunch of people, while it's not perfect, it's better than holding on and waiting to get the shots into the second arms, hoping that Moderna and Pfizer and the feds get it together to give it to the states. That's the frustrating part. I'm hearing from state to state to state to state, well, we've given out 600,000 shots, and we have about another 700,000 essentially on ice, but some of those are already earmarked. No, give them out. Get people vaccinated who want to be vaccinated. And then the second shots, what if you get it 6 weeks after the first shot? You're going to be fine still. It's going to offer you more protection. It may not be perfect, but at this moment in time, if we care about the healthcare community and they're really worried about a surge, get it into people's arms. Let's think about this with the flu shot for a second. 30 to 55% effective. That's what the flu shot is. Different variants. It changes all the time. They get together, the WHO, and they decide, well, what about this? It could be this, it could be that. We can go here, we can go there. They try to figure out what it's going to be. They're guesstimating. They put it together, and depending on what strain, if they got it right, it offers you some protection, which is better than no protection. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. The rat has spoken. You know what I'm talking about. You know, the rat.
When I turn to see, there's a perfect shadow cast of me. 6 more weeks of winter there will be.
Puxatani, Phil. has spoken. 6 more weeks of winter. Producer Phil, you are currently in our nation's capital, and I've been seeing people. Is there a little bit of snow going on?
We've got a little dusting this morning.
A little dusting of snow. Yeah, a little nor'easter rolling through up and down the eastern seaboards. So 6 more weeks of winter, says the giant rat. So you got that to look forward to. My lizards are like, man, if we catch that, that'd be awesome. We'd eat that thing big time, maybe have a little barbecue. Chad, that's not very nice. It's funny, though, right? Like I said that. If it's a lizard or a snake, people don't care. They're gross. But if it's a fuzzy thing, what's fuzzy, Chad? Well, yeah, that fuzzy thing might bite you. Maybe carry rabies. Have you thought of that? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Now, all this being said, 6 more weeks of winter, the nastiness of the coronavirus and the potential spread of a new strain or two here. What about the stimulus? Let's go back before the election.
Those $2,000 checks will go out the door.
$2,000 stimulus checks for the people next week.
When you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 check.
$2,000 in relief, direct payment.
So kind of actually $1,400 checks.
Democrats are all pushing for $2,000 relief checks.
$2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 checks to the American people right now.
Want your $2,000 stimulus check? Vote Democrat.
First things that I want to do is deliver the $2,000 checks.
That money will go out the door immediately, and that's not hyperbole, that's real.
Well, will it or won't it go out the door? That's a question that they're trying to put together and answer now. And look, is there going to be more money for people? Yes. The answer to that one is absolutely 100% yes. Yesterday, bunch of Republicans got together in the White House, sat down, had a good conversation with the president, which is something I think that we stopped having, especially when it came to Trump. And it started before. Let's remember, Tulsi Gabbard was the only Democrat that met with Trump pre his win going into the White House. So after his win going into the White House, the incoming president, the president-elect, Tulsi Gabbard, was the only one who met with him. Nobody else wanted to meet with him. The fact that you had House Republicans, I think it was 13 of them, send a letter to the president saying we're open and we can't wait to work with you and we're willing to work with you. That to me is a good thing. And it doesn't mean you give up everything. But if you don't feel like you have a seat at the table and you don't feel like, and you're the president, and you don't feel like, hey, you know what, I sent him to be the president for everybody, and we do have some things that we need to work on, that's not good, right? Especially if we're trying to get away from what people thought was the evil, bad orange man who was his way or the highway. And partisanship, well, then this potentially is a good first step. And the thing is, it's about being honest, straightforward, holding to your beliefs and convictions, but at the same time, understanding they've got beliefs and convictions, and somewhere along the line, you're going to have some give and take. Susan Collins.
So I think it was an excellent meeting, and we're very appreciative that as his first official meeting in the Oval Office, the president chose to spend so much time with us in a frank and very useful discussion.
Yeah, and I think that is a good thing. Frank, useful. What are we going to do? How are we going to get something through? What can we do that is going to, first and foremost, let's start with where we all agree. Where do we all agree? And then once we start building that puzzle, we can see what other pieces we can get in here.
All of us are concerned about struggling families, teetering small businesses, an overwhelmed healthcare system, getting vaccines out and into people's arms, and strengthening our economy and addressing the public health crisis that we face.
And I think once you find out that, hey, we believe in 70%, the big sticking point is simple. The biggest sticking point in all of this for the Republicans and the Democrats, states. States, in particular blue states, that have huge, massive unfunded liabilities and a lot of things out there that they're trying to pay that is really hitting them hard because they got zero tax revenue. That's the biggest issue, I think, out of all of this. The unemployment, like the $1,000 or $1,400, all of those things can be negotiated and worked on. All of those things are in play. But the huge amounts of money earmarked for states is the big sticking point here. I'd like to see more money from the Republicans when it comes to vaccinations. And I'm good with especially I'd like to see maybe it's a blank certain amount of money that goes out to everyone. And then maybe for people who are in situations where they are completely unemployed because their business has been told they can't open, that maybe they get a little bit more. We can figure that out. These are the things we agree upon. But that big sticking point for so many, especially the Republicans, is the amount of money going to the states. That is the huge battle line. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Hope you're doing well. Again, the giant rat, Puxatawny Phil. He's not a rat, Chad. He's a groundhog. He's a big rat. He's not a rat. Kind of looks like a big rat. And I know rats. I know rats, kids. I know rats. I feed rats to my critters. Frozen ones. I don't do live. I don't care about feeding mice live because they're awful. Right? I'll buy 40 mice. By the time I get home, there's 38 because they'll eat each other. But rats, unless I had an animal that was weird, and I have one, doesn't care if it's dead or alive, but will only eat white rats. Won't eat anything else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So I know rats. Let me tell you something. I know weather, too. It's going to be beautiful here today, but across the country, cold. So you need to get yourself some car shield. Tell you what, temperatures drop, chances of something going in your car wrong, that goes up. Well, there's all kinds of reasons. Maybe your heater's not working. Maybe you're getting ready for summer, and you're like, I haven't checked my air. Oh, my goodness, this could go wrong. Engine issues, all kinds of things. You don't want to freak out about that. You want to have some protection. That's where Car Shield comes in. I've got the maximum safety on both my cars, one older, one newer. It's really inexpensive, starts as low as $99 a month, and it's worth its weight in gold. They got over 1 million customers, and the reason for that is simple. It works. You want to protect your car. You want to protect your engine. This is it. You want to protect your pocketbook? You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. You can take it to the dealership, and it doesn't matter where you are in the country. You can go from California to Florida, had an issue in Florida. They'll get you sorted out. Drive with confidence. Do what I do. Get yourself some coverage, the best coverage with Car Shield. Call 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson. Save you 10%. Or go to carshield.com. Use code Benson. Carshield.com. Use code Benson. Save 10% right there. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
They love that Pat's the leader. He's got a great relationship with his receivers. I think that always says a lot. And I think there's a lot of things that make him a great player. Obviously, his physical skill set, but I think he's got the ability to focus when the moments are the biggest and to deliver for his team. So that's probably the mark of any great athlete, is coming through in a clutch. And I think he's off to a great start in his career doing that.
Yeah. You think Mahomes is a beast. There's no doubt about that. A guy who loves to play the game. The game's going to be exciting this weekend. I'm pumped for it. I just, it's when we started all of the stuff that's going on, right? Like we're social distancing, and there was wear a mask, and then it was like, hey, you know what? We're going to shut down, and we non-essential workers are going to have to be at home, and then, baseball was in the midst of their preseason. They shut everything down, and I just remember everything changed the night that the NBA stopped down and they said, we're going to pause the season. And then the NHL did the same. And baseball, and were we going to get through anything? Well, we got through everything, right? The only thing that was really missed, was as far as big events the country pays attention to. And if you play a sport that, if you're like a rower and you missed that, my bad, was March Madness. Outside of that, we got through baseball, and it was iffy and sketchy at times. Basketball, they went into their little city in the bubble, worked it out. NHL pretty much did the same thing. And football, I said, if football doesn't come back, that's the thing. And football came back. College had its ups and downs, but the NFL, outside of a few hiccups here and there, got through. And now the culmination is Super Bowl this weekend, and I'm excited. And I have a feeling that next year it will be sports as usual when we get to the football season. For probably both college and the NFL. I think the NBA, obviously, the NHL, and baseball are going to have some issues, and baseball's already talking about the fact that they're probably going to have a 154-game season, which I don't think is a bad idea. And at the same time, they're going to have to push back, potentially, the start of the season. So, but it's just, it's good. And so many people didn't think we were going to get there, and we have got there. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be weird this weekend, too, because you're going to watch some of the game, and so much is poured into the NFL's commercials and the Super Bowl and the whole 9 yards. CBS has promised one thing. They said this is going to be the most cinematic Super Bowl ever. They're going to be pulling out all of the stops. It is going to be as much about, I'll be honest, by the sounds of what they're saying, it's going to be like a movie and sports all rolled into one. So that'll be cool. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Democrats welcome the ideas and input of our Senate Republican colleagues. The only thing we cannot accept is a package that is too small or too narrow to pull our country out of this emergency.
Chad, stop being like a child. Chuck Schumer, Chuck, size matters, and he wants the biggest package out there. I think we all know that. Of course, it's other people's money. Spend the hell out of it. It's other people's money. I just think we have to be smart about the way that we spend it. And I think that's part of the frustration. I talk to Republicans and Democrats all the time. My biggest, and I've talked about this, you got the right, the Republicans, we want small government, we want fiscal responsibility, but they grow the government too, and they're never fiscally responsible the way that they scream. Now, you do get a few deficit hawks who were on the opposite side to the point where they were like, yeah, let's cut everything, and and that's not real either. On the other side, the left, it can't get big enough. Right? So we need bigger. Everything's bigger. Got to do bigger. Got to go bold. Got to go big. We got to do everything. We got to take care of everybody from birth to death. And it's no. Both sides have some good ideas and some bad ideas. Both sides go out and they pitch their dream, and as we all know, it gets diluted by the time it gets to the final thing. It's always diluted. Right? You get to that point where you think, oh, look at this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, you got to make deals along the way because I got to take this out. And why? Well, I'm going to need this guy's vote in 6 weeks on that appropriations bill or on this. So I'm going to do this for him. He's going to do that for me. If you guys have ever seen Charlie Wilson's War, which is an amazing movie, and the book is great, by the way. He was just for him. Like, here's a dude who's in Texas in the late 70s through the 80s in a dead red state, who's a Democrat, who's living the life large, having fun, partying, being a bachelor. His constituents loved him, and kind of like Joe Manchin, and didn't care. You know, he went along with the Republicans when he needed to, Democrats when he had to. But at the end of the day, what did he do? He cashed in all his chips that he had built up. So by the time stuff gets to certain places, what happens? It's diluted. Doesn't look like it's supposed to look. It doesn't look. What about this? Well, I had to take that out. Well, I owe that guy something, and he's going to give me something later on. And over here, they're like, hey, I thought you were going to get this. You know, we couldn't get it this time. I got to give them something because they did a favor for me a while back. So they had their chip in the game, and their IOU came due. What can we agree on that's real? Let's stop pretending. And then when we agree on that, how can we spend it that's right? And those are questions that need to be asked. How do we spend it correctly? That, to me, is the most important. Not like we did with Obama, gave him $1 trillion, right? Remember this? Hey, there you go. This is going to be great. Infrastructure, the whole 9 yards, shovel-ready jobs. And we blew that money. Where'd that money go? We threw $1 trillion away. Where did it go? There's so much money. And it becomes to the point where it's just digits on a piece of paper. You spend it correctly, you find out you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, we have a spending problem. I've always said that. How we spend it, how wisely we spend it, that to me is more important than anything else. A lot of people, no, we can spend it. No. We need to be smart. We need to get money into people's hands and into the businesses and to hold steady and then get them the kind of check that they want, which is a paycheck, by allowing them to get back out there and work. But if we don't spend smart, we'll be back here doing it again in 3 or 4 months, which is fine because it's other people's money. But it shouldn't be fine because those other people are us. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. So I'm going to say this. It is, to me, it's just this Marjorie Taylor Greene. We get, like, she's crazy. And the Democrats are doing something very brilliant. Kind of like the Republicans did with AOC, right? So they made AOC and the Squad and Bernie what the Democratic Party is. That's not what the Democratic Party is. It's not. If you're buying into that, you're full of it. It's not the Democratic Party. But they painted that picture. On the other side, Marjorie Taylor Greene is what the Democrats are doing and saying basically everybody who is a Republican is QAnon. And this was interesting. Anderson Cooper had on a QAnon person. And he was very open about all the stuff that they believe. It was fascinating, again, to watch this person kind of talk about the stuff that some of them deep down inside, who went down a hole that's even farther than people realize, believed.
Did you at the time believe that high-level Democrats and celebrities were worshiping Satan, drinking the blood of children?
Anderson, I thought you did that, and I would like to apologize for that right now. So I apologize for thinking that you ate babies.
So think about that. Think about that right there. Hey, Anderson, I want to apologize because I used to think you ate babies. Oh, Chad, that's not real. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. A few years ago, I went to give a speech at a conference, and there were a couple people who came up to me who swore. And by the way, this was not a 25-year-old guy. This was an 80-plus-year-old woman who swore to me that Hillary and Chelsea were in Los Angeles going to a place to eat children. And that's real. I can look it up on the internet. I said, that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. Absolutely true. No. That's how deep. She was 80 plus years old, and she bought it hook, line, and sinker.
You actually believe that I was drinking the blood of children?
Yes, I did.
Was it something about me that made you think that?
It's because Q specifically mentioned you, and he mentioned you very early on. He mentioned you by name, and from there, I'm going to be honest, like, people still talk about that to this day. There were posts about that just 4 days ago. So some people thought you were a robot.
Yeah. I mean, that's where people go. Think about this for a second. That's what Q wanted you to believe. That is insane. It is. Like, if somebody came up to you and go, hey, you know what? I think, I think Brad Pitt and George Clooney and the Clintons are getting together tonight, and they're going to barbecue a human being and eat it. It's a baby. And they're going to worship the devil. Like, what are you talking about? That's insane. And I'm going to get a bunch of people, oh, yeah, Chad, this is real. This is all real. And what they've done is they've got a person in Marjorie Taylor Greene who they can now say, this is what they all believe. Again, listen to this.
You really believed this?
I didn't just believe that. I, at one stage, believed that QAnon was part of military intelligence, which is what he says. But on top of that, that the people behind them were actually a group of fifth-dimensional, intradimensional, extraterrestrial, bipedal bird aliens called blue avians. I was so far down in this conspiracy black hole that I was essentially picking and choosing whatever narrative that I wanted to believe in.
And that's a scary thing right there. And now they've got somebody who is, quite frankly, a huge problem for Mitch McConnell and for the Republicans. Distance yourself. Get away from her. Right? I mean, this is the insanity of what's out there. And she got to, she's already, trying to impeach Biden, all the stuff when it comes to from the Sandy Hook to Parkland. And it is, and this is what the Democrats are doing. They're doing a great job of painting the picture of this is what all Republicans believe.
McConnell just unleashed a scathing attack against Republican Congresswoman QAnon supporter Marjorie Taylor Greene. He pointed directly at her without actually calling her by name. It's pretty clear, though, who he's talking about. In a statement released by his office, McConnell said, and I quote, "Loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party and our country. Somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not living in reality. This has nothing to do with the challenges facing American families or the robust debates on substance that can strengthen our party."
100%. But here's the other thing. Trump's gone. How quiet's it been? Not as much fighting going on. People aren't getting at each other's throats the way they used to. They're trying to find ways to do stuff. And she is the perfect foil for the mainstream / establishment media to paint that this is what they're all like because it's a good thing. Just like on the left, it's AOC and Ilhan Omar and everybody else they want to usher in socialism and communism and all this stuff. They've got their foils now. They needed somebody else. They've got it. And Mitch really was smart. Look, you know who you're talking about. Just come out and say it. You know who you're talking about. I've always said this. You police your own as much as you police anybody else's. If you feel that she's this, you get a hold of that. You say, I don't know who the hell you think you are. I don't know what you think you're doing. But we're not going to have that in this party. And if that's what you believe, then you got to get. Chat, no. You police your own. You watch your own. Especially when both sides try to stand on some moral high ground when the reality is when their own does something, they protect their badge. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Raycon, best earbuds around, period. Case closed. Love my Raycons. Go out, whether I'm playing golf, which I do quite a bit, playing a little soccer, which I may do a little bit later. I've got my Raycons in. There's no wires. There's no stems. The noise isolating fit, and the fit makes it just amazing. I have to worry about them falling out, and I can go as hard as I want, and it's incredible. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and the bass, the sound design is awesome. But that noise isolating fit, when it snaps in your ears, what it feels like it's meant to be there, guess what happens? You hear everything clear. The sound quality is bigger, and when you're making phone calls, when you're making video conference calls, you hear them, they hear you. None of the chaos around you. That's what I love. That's what I love. And the price point, well under $100. Normally you pay $200, $300 for earbuds like these. Get yours now, each $25, from Raycon, and save an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Get yours now. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Dustin Diamond was a true comedic genius. So says his Saved by the Bell co-star Mark Paul Gosselaar, the Zach to Diamond's Screech on the High School Comedy.
He's good for America. Screech, you'll always be first to lead.
Diamond died Monday, just a few weeks after being diagnosed with lung cancer. Tori Spelling played Diamond's girlfriend on the show.
Oh, Samuel, you're such a funny hunk. I'm not that funny.
She writes on Instagram that her first on-screen kiss partner was kind, smart, and always making people laugh. Dustin Diamond was 44.
Yeah, 44 years of age. So remember, it was a little over a month and a half ago. He went into the hospital, and they said he was very sick, and then boom, he's got lung cancer, like stage 4 lung cancer. I guess it spread throughout his body, and that was it. Diagnosed with small cell lung carcinoma. Finished one round of chemo on January 21st, and then he died yesterday. And he had a lot of issues. Let's be real. And part of it was he was Screech. There was never going to escape that. He was Screech. And like a lot of these young kids who get into a situation where that's all they were, and they never grow from it. You only, like Jerry Mathers, you will only ever know him as the Beaver. There was never, you're not getting out of it. Not everybody gets to be Ron Howard, who goes from success to another success. You get into a situation where you're kind of stuck there. And some people embrace it, right? Some people embrace, look, this gave me something. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to run with as much as possible. Just this is what it is. They've given it to me, and I'm going to take it. And if this is what it is, it's better than nothing. But other people have a tough time. And he never, that look was great when you're a high school kid in a TV show. But outside of that, there was no growth from there. And it's lost a lot of money. It was only on for 4 seasons. I was talking to my uncle last night. I'm like, everybody thinks it was on for a long time. It was, but they didn't do a lot of shows, and they've got the new one now that's out, and some of them are on it. But it's a sad way to end it, and sad because people watched kind of the downfall of him with, I think it was a situation with a knife, and obviously the adult film thing. Was it real or wasn't real? It was just it's sad. But I remember we were talking about, like Screech is 44. That's the other thing. You when you're 21, you think 40's never going to happen to me. When 30 comes, you're like, wow, I'm still in pretty good shape. I'm okay. You get to 40, you're like, all right, now it's time to really make some hay in life. And you get that 50, 60, you're like, oh my goodness me. It's like, whoa, I'm closer to 80 than I am to 20. You start, but when you hear that somebody's 44, you're like, oh my God, how did that happen? It's sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Once again, if you've not heard.
When I turn to see, there's a perfect shadow cast of me. 6 more weeks of winter there will be.
Puxatawny Phil, the rodent that apparently is also a licensed meteorologist, says there will be 6 more weeks. For those of you guys who want to know what a groundhog is, also known as a woodchuck, it's a rodent. It is part of a large ground squirrel known as marmots. It's a lowland creature of North America. It's found much throughout the eastern part of the United States, Canada, and Alaska. And there you have it. It's a giant, huge squirrel that tells and gives you weather. That's what it is. Puxatawny Phil. Did he get it right? Well, I don't know. If you're in the East Coast right now, you're like, yeah, I think so. Six weeks of weather has arrived today. If you're out here on the West, you don't have as many vaccinations as on the East, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be 78 here today, and I think that's okay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Check out all of our social media pages. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Those $2,000 checks will go out the door. $2,000 stimulus checks for the people next week.
When you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 check.
$2,000 in relief, direct payments.
So kind of actually $1,400 checks.
Democrats are all pushing for $2,000 relief checks.
$2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 checks to the American people right now.
Want your $2,000 stimulus check? Vote Democrat.
First things that I want to do is deliver the $2,000 checks.
That money will go out the door immediately. And that's not hyperbole, that's real.
Are you going to get your money? I don't know. You're going to get something. The Republicans and Democrats are going to come up with something because, well, the American people are hurting. A lot of it is because of poor management through COVID, which is still out there, and we're facing another massive potential of having issues that are going to be in front of us that are going to be like, wow, we thought 8 months ago was bad, and the last 6 weeks were bad. If this variant is as easily transmittable as they're saying, this could get ugly. All the while this is going on, people are still struggling. Financially, struggling with the fact that they don't have enough to eat. They're making decisions. People that were once volunteering at some of these places with food are now in line getting it. And if you would have told them at the beginning of last year that that was happening, you'd say, my God, what happened? COVID happened. Yesterday, the Republicans went to the White House, sat down with the president, and had an actual meeting. There was no tweeting. There was no coming out afterwards and saying he's a jerk and he's orange and he hates everybody and he's a racist. And there's no, him tweeting saying she's the worst person on earth and Chuck Schumer's insane. No, it was just adults in a room having a conversation.
We have just had a very productive, cordial 2-hour meeting with the president and the vice president and some of their key aides to discuss the next steps on the COVID relief package.
Yeah. Susan Collins there. 2 hours. Sat down. Having just a conversation. You know, one thing I've always learned is you are screaming and shouting at somebody doesn't persuade them to do anything. That's why when you watch those like talking head shows, I'm never on those. I've been asked. I don't know why. Why? So I have 3 minutes where I can yell at somebody. You raise your profile. I like what I do. I like having a conversation. If you want to have me on to have a conversation, yeah, that'd be great. But if you want me to scream and yell, No, I'd like them. Here's the message. And you put a message out. And that was the problem with both sides when it came to Trump. It was all about the screaming and the yelling. And it was more about enforcing your disdain for one side or the other. It was never about, hey, let me show you what our ideas are, what we're thinking here. Now, do I think that anything's going to come out of this? No, they've already said they'll go it alone. They've got ways of going around this that may hinder them. And it may also look like that they're, hey, we're in control now, so we're going to just run amok. But I think they'll get some stuff done. I will. And I think the fact is that they're going to come together, find first and foremost where we agree, and go from there.
I consider it a success. There was common ground. As the president said, we're united in our concern for the American people.
Yeah, and the American people want to be back to work. How do we get back to work? It's simple. We get shots in arms, and we also tell people who don't want shots. That's the other thing, man. You get a shot or don't get a shot. Are you advocating? I don't care what you do, but what I don't want is everybody to be held hostage by people that don't want to get vaccinated. If you're a big boy and girl, man, woman, nondescript, non-gender, adult, so don't have to hurt anybody's feelings. If you choose not to get a vaccine and your choice is religion, or I think that they're going to alter my DNA or whatever, if you choose, that's fine. I got zero problems. Zero problems. None. But if the place I'm living tells me, well, you know what, we have 12 or 15 or 18% of people who do not want any vaccine, and because of that, we can't go to fully. No, I'm sorry. That doesn't work that way. No longer should the flea wag the tail, wag the dog. People want to work. They don't want a check from the government. They want to work. Find common ground. Get us through this debacle. Let's get us in a situation where, guess what? We're back working. We're back doing things that we used to do. Eating in restaurants. What? Yeah, eating in restaurants. Getting out there. Going to sporting events. Spending money. Getting our businesses back up and running. This is where we are. This is what we want. Right now, the reality is we've got a bit of a ways to go. But people want to work. They don't want to be given stuff. They're taking it because they have no choice. Because their states have shut down to the point where it's completely hindered their business or shut it down completely. So they got no choice. People want to work. Remember the movie Jurassic Park? And they brought out the goat for T-Rex. What did they say? T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. T-Rex wants to hunt. People want to work. I've got friends who, when this first started, who they joke around like, oh, I want to win the lottery. I want to do all this stuff. And they like everybody dreams and goofs around like that. And they were out for 4 or 6 weeks from their jobs. And while they were making money, in some cases making a little bit more than they were before they were working, they said the same thing. I feel awful. I want to get out. I want to live my life. People want that. Kids want to go to school and need to, and people want to work. How do we do that? We get through this thing as fast as possible, but also understanding that we have to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing, which is most important because it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. And if there's a new variant out there, the best thing that we can do, give as many shots as possible.
Doctors are predicting another surge as more contagious variants of the virus take hold, now confirmed in 35 states. The White House is urging healthcare providers not to hold back second shots.
There are no doses that are hanging around. A dose that's available is going to go into someone's arm.
At nursing homes, the CDC found only 38% of workers accepted the vaccine when it was first offered.
Which is scary. Nursing homes, right? We got to protect the nursing homes. So wait, you're telling me 60+% of them are saying no? That's scary. We've got states that are like, well, we have given out 600,000 shots, but we've only got 500,000 or 600,000 left, so we got to make sure that these people that have already got the first one will get the second. No, you don't. Give it to everybody. They've got 50 to 60% chance of not getting it. And the second thing is, should they catch it, because they've got the first shot, the chances of them getting really sick is minuscule. So get the shots out there, get them in people's arms. It's crazy. I got a lot of pushback for that yesterday. Oh, how could that? Because it's what we need to do. The more people that are vaccinated, the more people that have gotten this. And by the way, if you've gotten it, you go to the back of the line. I've tested positive for the antibodies. I go to the back of the line. I'm not worried about it at this moment in time. But let's get through this thing so we can get back to work. Let's get through this thing because I do believe, based on where we are, we got a chance to hit the ground running, but we can't go forever the start-stop. Nobody wants to do that. Think about this with our economy. CBO yesterday said,
in an upgrade to its previous forecast, the Congressional Budget Office now expects U.S. GDP growth will return to its pre-pandemic level by the middle of this year. The nonpartisan budget office said some sectors of the economy have recovered faster than previously expected, and the $900 billion COVID relief package passed by Congress at the end of last year also helped improve the outlook. But the CBO says the unemployment rate won't return to its pre-pandemic level until 2024.
So we've still got a ways to go there, but we can get the economy jump-started. And by the way, let's think about this too. The economy's going to be reworked. Out of this will come a new economy. The gig economy, people taking opportunities that they didn't have before, and they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Some businesses will say, we had X amount of employees. We don't need that. Some businesses are going to say, we had massive office space. We don't need that. We can function smaller and leaner. So opportunities will come. It's a changing, evolving thing. But the quicker we can get through this thing and understand that we're going to have to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing, much like the flu, at least until we get a better idea of how long the shots last, how long the antibodies, should you have caught it, last, until we can figure that out, let's get to it so we can get to it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It's our favorite cut of the day. The giant, huge guinea pig.
When I turn to see, there's a perfect shadow cast of me. 6 more weeks of winter there will be.
How about that? Why? Because it's cold. It's chilly out there in the Northeast. Not here. It's going to be 78 today. You guys soak that up? 78 today. People out there are digging in the shovels, right? Just getting it, throwing it out. Not here. 78. Partly cloudy. Might get a little rain tomorrow. Could it be 81? Soak it in, kids. Soak it in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. ExpressVPN. Virtual private network. It's amazing. Hide yourself as much as you can. Know this. Wouldn't you like to control your data? Like when you go on social media, you go into the search engine and everything, you are not the end product. You're the bait. Wouldn't you like to control your data? Of course you would. That's why you need a VPN. ExpressVPN is the absolute bee's knees and the best. I love it. I use it. My uncle uses it. Everybody I tell, use this. It's great to protect yourself. It anonymizes much of your online, presence. Right? So hide your IP address, makes your activity difficult to trace and sell to advertisers, which is what you want. You control, if you will, your data because it's expensive. Plus, it encrypts 100% of your data, protects you from eavesdroppers on your network. That's the beauty of ExpressVPN. Plus, it's easy to install. One tap on your phone or computer, boom, you're protected. Take back your online privacy with a VPN I trust. That's ExpressVPN. Go to expressvpn.com/Benson. You visit there, you get a year package, which is nothing. It's like 16 cents or 22 cents a day. You get an extra 3 months on top of that. EXPRESSVPN.com/Benson. ExpressVPN.com/Benson to protect your data today. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see what's trending around the globe, as well as here in the United States of America. Let's start with Twitter today, because it's always fun to watch people get angry at each other. Although that doesn't happen as much. Got to be honest with you. Not as much as it used to. AOC speaks out about what went on that day, January 6th, and describes the trauma of the insurrection and the fact that she is a survivor of sexual assault. It's trending. A soccer coach in India has been fired for, well, an awful interview that he said after his team lost. Yeah, it was not... Stuart Baxter basically used an analogy about sexual assault to what happened to one of his players and said, well, if, essentially that happens to one of my players for us to give a call. Yeah, that was not a wise choice of words is what I'm trying to tell everybody. Not a wise. Dustin Diamond, trending everywhere. And yesterday on Google, there was over 5 million plus searches on the death of Dustin Diamond, a.k.a. Screech, from Saved by the Bell. Just a sad situation, 44 years young. Really fell on hard times the last few years. I think he went on Stern at what point. He tried to sell a bunch of T-shirts to save his house. He had a lot of issues the last few years, and he got the cancer. I think one of the things he blamed it on, he said he stayed in a bunch of horrible, seedy motels, and it was a sad situation. Marilyn Manson is trending big time, and if you guys have not heard, several women have come out and alleged abuse against him. His record company dropped him, said that they will cease to further promote his current album effective immediately in light of what has been accused, or, he's been accused of. Some of it, Evan Rachel Wood and other women have came out and said he was an abuser. She said in an interview that she was going to name her abuser, and his name was Brian Warner, which is his name. You know him as Marilyn Manson, and it's just very interesting how many people have come out. And you've got the Armie Hammer, who's the actor. He's also had a lot of people talk about his kind of obsession and weirdness with stuff. Being a cannibal. Well, maybe there's some of that stuff out there for the QAnon people. It's just creepy as can be. And I don't know. At no point did I say, I'd like to eat you. I'm watching my weight. I can only eat protein. At no point had I ever thought that. But some of these, it's just crazy. I'm telling you, it is crazy when you get inside of people's mind. You have no idea what the person sitting next to you on the airplane or at work or even in the pews is thinking. No idea. Weird, right? You're like, oh, my God, yeah, that is kind of odd. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. 2 people nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. It's very interesting. We're going to touch on that. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Kaiser Family Foundation has found that 51% of us either refuse to get vaccinated or are waiting to see how it's working. Public health officials lay blame for the hesitancy at the feet of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Social media has been a disaster during this pandemic.
Dr. Antonio Falcone is the health authority in Starr County, Texas, and he's trying to counter the misinformation.
There's so much out there.
He says Starr County's majority Latino population is deeply suspicious of the vaccine, partly based on what's been said on social media.
Yeah. And partly because people also, I'm going to say it, they're lazy. They're lazy. They won't do any homework at all because they congregate in an area that makes them feel comfortable. They're more apt to want to take in information last, but affirmation first. They'll take in some information, so it's not all lies or disinformation or misinformation, but it's just enough to get you to bite, and then it's about affirmation. How can I use something and twist it in such a way? Oh, this over here is going to mess with your DNA if you use the Johnson & Johnson because they have DNA in there and it's going to go, and this mRNA, this is going to mess with your they start throwing stuff out there. You're going to be chipped, and it's insane. It is, but that's where we are at this point in time. Like I said, I would never tell somebody to go get a vaccine. That's a you thing. You want to get a vaccine, knock yourself out. Do I think they're safe? Yeah. And why is that? Because the lawyers have signed off on them. When lawyers start signing off on stuff, it's a good thing. Because the lawyers are the ones that are trying to keep them from getting sued. That's the whole goal of the lawyer. And the other side of it is the lawyers are the people who are trying to get people to sue. So when lawyers say things are good, I'm like, well, I trust that person here who doesn't want to have to defend these people. They're paying them a lot of money to make sure that things go smooth. And I've learned that through the years. What do the lawyers say? Lawyers say it's good. Well, then I think it's going to be good because they say it was good. And they're the ones who are telling us always to do no. Always. Don't do this. Don't do it. Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get a lot of trouble. They're going to sue you. Don't do it. You're going to lose everything. Don't do it. And the misinformation gets out there. There's also a racial component. African Americans, understandably, little hesitant. The Latino community, understandably at times a little bit hesitant, especially towards this because of the social media aspect of it. But you do what's right for you. But for us to get through this thing, which we're going to do, whether people want to or not, it's like one of those things. We're on an airplane. We're 32,000 feet in the air. We've passed the point of returning back to the original gate. We're on our way. Now, how do we deal with it? And that's where I think if I'm Biden and the powers that be, Fauci, everybody else, I come out and I have a clear message about, look, we're going to get everybody the opportunity to have the vaccine, whether it's the one shot, whether it's the 2 dosages, whatever it is. But we will be returning to a normal way of life sooner rather than later. And if you choose not to be vaccinated, that is your choice, but we will not live to protect you. You've made a choice. And I think that's one of the things that we have to, tough talk, whatever you want to call it. I think it's just reality. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. This was tough to watch. It was everywhere. We talk about the issues that police officers have. We've talked about it for a long time. We ask police officers to essentially be all things to all people, right? You come on out, well, we're going to need you to do something. What? This person's on drugs. We need you to fix this problem. Hey, this person's been abused. We need you to fix this problem. This person's, you're a social worker as well as somebody who's supposed to keep the peace and fight crime. And too often than not, cops get demonized for a lot of things. Some of it's real. They do bad things because just like everything else, they're bad cops, they're bad doctors, they're bad pilots. Read an article the other day where pilots are struggling. They haven't flown for a while and they're making a lot of mistakes. I don't want to hear that at 30,000 feet Maybe you need to be inside the simulator for a while. But there's also situations where you have to ask, why was the cop called? Why are we in a position where we're calling our police to do more and more? And then when you get a reaction like this, you're looking at them going, my God, officer, what the hell were you thinking? A 9-year-old arrested and, for good measure, pepper sprayed.
I'm not getting in no car until I see my dad.
Here, just stop for a second.
I want my dad.
Control 47, I'm in the...
I want my dad. No.
Stop. Take us, dude.
Oh my God.
Stop, dude. Just relax.
Okay.
You
Wait,
done?
my mom, she's pregnant.
Are you done?
My mom's pregnant.
Stop.
Please get the snow off of me.
I'll get the snow off of you.
It's cold.
Get in the car. You've had your chance.
Get in the car now.
Okay?
Okay?
You've had your chances.
Stop.
Sit up.
No.
You're acting like a child.
I am a child.
Yeah, you're 9 years old, and you are a child. So apparently they were called out because people were worried that she was going to hurt herself, hurt her mother, and it became a really bad situation. Fight, flight. You've got officers who are adults, a female officer, and other officer. You're asking, this is where we talk about better policing, smarter policing. Why is a police officer in a situation like this, where they're going out, the 9-year-old kills somebody? Then, yes, that you may have to have some officers out in certain situations because children can do heinous things at times. At the same time, you go, whoa, here, Rochester cops, what in God's name are you doing? She's in the back of the car now. So, pepper spray?
Stand up.
Yeah, let the
Stand up.
Arm.
Then stand up.
I want my dad.
I'm a
Stand up.
Officer.
Stand up.
Stand up for me.
Okay. Stop.
Please. I will get your dad. No, you said that you were going to pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop. Sit back. Oh, I got a bad arm.
Just sprayer.
No, I have
Just
a bad
sprayer at this
arm.
point. I got her. I got her.
Please, wipe my eye. Wipe my eye, please.
It's tough. She's 9. Question 2 is, look, honest question is, like my son's 10. I couldn't imagine, my son getting to the point where I'm like, we need to call the police. Don't know what happened there. There's a female officer who wasn't there. She went to find her father when all of this went down. It is tough to watch. It is a tough situation. Officers have been suspended, put on, desk duty or whatever they like to call it. But there is a lot of issues here. Children, and, once again, being in a position where somebody's calling the police. Because let's just remember this. And this is something I was talking to producer Anthony. Cops just don't show up at your house willy-nilly. Somebody calls the police. Why did you call the police? Well, we were worried. What were you worried about? Why isn't there somebody there from the state or somebody who's got, and maybe, one of the better ways that we police going forward in the future is not defunding the police, reallocating for certain things and certain training, saying, hey, you know what, this person over here, these two, this lady and this guy cop over here, they would be great to work on a social aspect. Still police officers, but they're the ones who are going to go in and try to de-escalate, especially with children. Finding a smarter way to the police, but it is tough to watch because you're watching a 9-year-old get pepper sprayed and arrested by police officers. And at the same time, why are we asking police to what? To come in and solve problems. Why? Why are you calling the police on your daughter? What happened? Where's the disconnect there? And it is a tough thing to watch. And, it's Black History Month. And the thought as we ran up to the election is defund the police. No, it's about finding new, better ways of policing that are smarter, that make things safer for everybody, brings the community closer together. There's also a certain sense of policing yourself, right? And a 9-year-old, I couldn't even imagine as a father if my son was that gone and I saw that, what that would be like. But we've gotten to that point now, whether it's at school or whether it's the parents or the grandparents, that the first thing that goes wrong, we call the police to have them come, and they're not equipped for that. They're not out there to be social workers. They're like, hey, you did something wrong, we're going to arrest you. Don't care your age. You're out of control. And it is a tough thing. And this goes back to, how do we get to better policing, smarter policing, that is safer for the police officers, gives them extra tools in their tool belt, if you will. These are questions that need to be really talked about. And I think we need to talk about them, but we need to do it in such a way where we can be honest across the board. Black, white, Hispanic, gay, straight. We take off all of those things and we have real conversations about how can we better police ourselves in certain situations, that maybe not everything is a phone call to the police. And at the same time, understanding that, sometimes we're sending officers out that are ill-equipped in a situation like this, and in many situations, to try to be the end-all to be-all. You want them to be a parent. You want them to be a drug counselor. You want them to be an advocate for the homeless. You want them to be a psychologist. It's just, that's tough. But this, unacceptable. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Once again, the giant hamster spoke.
When I turn to see, there's a perfect shadow cast of me. 6 more weeks of winter there will be.
I just love hearing that because it's 78 here in Arizona. I do another local show out here in Phoenix, and my on-air partner, Katos, his dad's in Jersey, and he just sent a picture of his car, and it's just all that you can see are the wipers up in the air. You can't see anything else. It's just gone. Just a giant fluff. Looks like Pablo Escobar's front room. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. People can steal your home. It's possible. And I know that sounds weird. How could somebody steal my house? It's simple. They do it the easiest way possible, through your title. They go online, look up your name, your address, they scan across there, and they find what? Oh, here's a title. Good address. I can fake that they stole it to me, couple signatures, quit claim the deed to me, then I can start taking out loans. Easier than stealing the car, way more profitable, and many of these people have no idea at all what happens before it's way too late. Start getting phone calls, start getting mail. What do you mean somebody took out a loan on my house? Yeah, it's that simple. That's what Home Title Lock's all about, protecting your title. Something happens to your title, even if there's a situation where the loan company goes in and they make a little change, a comma here, a dot there, you're going to get notified. Somebody's watching your title, and you need that. Thieves can borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars against your property, and the chances of you getting out of it are slim to none. You can even lose your home. So how do you go about combating it? You get Home Title Lock. Should somebody get by them, they're going to give you $250,000 to fight it in court. Protect your home now with Home Title Lock. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Register your address. Check it out. See if you've already been a victim. Use code radio for 30 free days of protection. That's code radio at HomeTitleLock.com. Code radio, HomeTitleLock.com. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
I mean, if you're not fired up to play in the Super Bowl, then I don't know what else can make you get any more fired up. I mean, to be able to play in the Super Bowl and try to repeat is enough in its own. I mean, they said that the last game that we played was going to be the last time that we played. So I'm sure he'll have to have something to say about that, trying to make Super Bowls, and I'll be trying to make more too. So, I mean, I'm definitely excited for this opportunity to go up against them and against that team. It's gonna be a great game, and I'm glad that we're back in this game and getting a chance to win another Super Bowl.
Patrick Mahomes, leader of the Chiefs, and that vaunted offense. Dude just plays. It's what he does. He gets out there and he just goes, and it is so much fun to watch. It really is. And got a chance now. Win another Super Bowl. Think about this. 3 years as a starter. So he played the last game in his first year when Alex Smith was the quarterback. I think he threw 5 or 6 touchdowns in the last game. And then the Chiefs lost after being up really, they were up big time. I think it's the Colts, and they ended up folding. And it just, next year was his. He exploded. Went to the AFC Championship game at home, lost to Brady. Next year, ran the gamut, won the whole thing. Now his 4th year in the Super Bowl again, and that doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. And you're going up against Brady. And this is what I love about Brady yesterday. Basically told everybody, I'm open to playing past 45. Because he said, I want to play till I'm 45. Well, if you're in that kind of shape and you're in, why not keep playing till they tell you can't play? They drag you off that field. I don't think he'll be that person that hangs on too long. I think Brady, there are people that don't know anything else. And Brady's got tons of other interests. But at the same time, he loves playing, and I think he's going to play it as long as he can at a level that's high. Would I be surprised to see him play till he's 46, 47? We live in a new world. We're pushing our bodies to levels based on health and technology we've never seen before. It's a great article yesterday about this millionaire spending a ton of money. And we've talked about this before. My son, my kids will live comfortably probably into their hundreds. Well, that's impossible. No, it's not. I'm 50, and where do you think we'll be in 30 years? We're going to be in a whole new level with technology and everything. Absolutely. So you don't know how long somebody's going to play. You don't. It could end this weekend. He could win and say, you know what? I can't think of a better way to go out. And I know that, I wanted to play to this, but I can't think of a better way than this to leave. But he'll leave on his own, and I don't think he'll be one of those people that leaves when he's, like the end of Peyton Manning's career, where, let's be real, that defense won him the Super Bowl. Not him. He could barely throw the ball 15 yards. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Didn't get a chance to get to my Nobel Peace Prize people. It's very interesting. The whole thing's interesting. I don't know why we haven't been nominated. I got to find somebody to nominate us. That'd be awesome. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Coronavirus running amok, causing hell and havoc for all of us out there. We've got vaccines that, quite frankly, aren't being used at this moment in time that I think the way that they should be used. And we've got an economy that is struggling, and all the while we're trying to figure out who's getting what when it comes to the stimulus. Is there going to be another round of it? I think it's going to happen. I do. How big will it be? I don't know. What I do know is they've met. They've sat down. They've broke bread. That's right. I said it, kids. They broke bread. They talked. Susan Collins.
We have just had a very productive, cordial 2-hour meeting with the president and the vice president and some of their key aides to discuss the next steps on the COVID relief package.
So we're there. And how do you do that? It's simple. In life, you know what you do? What do we agree on? All right. So we could talk about stuff that we disagree on all day. That's not hard to find. Where do we agree? Because if we can put together 70% of something, there's a good chance that we can get it over the line. So what is it that we agree on? That's what a negotiation is. Hey, you want this, I want this. Let's do it. Yeah, but I want all of this. Well, I want all of this. Well, you're not going to get all of that. Well, you're not going to get all of that. But you want all of this? Oh, absolutely. Well, let's start there. And through chiseling out and maybe maneuvering some of this, you may not need so much over there of this, and I may not need so much over here of this, and we can go about coming to an agreement that, while not perfect, because nothing ever is, can move forward.
All of us are concerned about struggling families, teetering small businesses, an overwhelmed healthcare system, getting vaccines out and into people's arms, and strengthening our economy and addressing the public health crisis that we face.
Yeah, all of us are. We all have an issue. And it doesn't matter whether or not you've been affected by this in a sense of the health aspect. Maybe it's your business. All of us have had some sort of issue. The question is, how do we move forward, and what do we do as we move forward? Where we can come to some sort of agreement, but we also have a real candid talk to the American people, if you're the president and the powers that be, that, hey, see how it works, kids? The train moves, not the station. Greatest line in that baseball movie, the girls, League of Their Own, John Lovitz. See how it works is the train moves, not the station. And that's the way it should be for us. It's about getting people who want to be vaccinated the opportunity to be vaccinated, taking away a lot of this chaos and insanity of, are you in Group 1A? It's like here in Arizona and across the country, I've heard how crazy it is in some places. Well, this is Group 1A. It's like getting on Southwest. Group 1B, Group 1B. We'd like to welcome aboard all of our gold card luxury. I mean, it's silly. Let's get needles in the arms of the people that want them. And at the same time, let's also let everybody else who doesn't want them for whatever reason know that we're now going to start moving forward. We're going to start opening up, and we're going to start getting on.
Doctors are predicting another surge as more contagious variants of the virus take hold, now confirmed in 35 states. The White House is urging healthcare providers not to hold back second shots.
There are no doses that are hanging around. A dose that's available is going to go into someone's arm.
At nursing homes, the CDC found only 38% of workers accepted the vaccine when it was first offered.
And that's something that I think we need to have a conversation. Why aren't people getting it? Is it they're doing their due diligence? They're not doing their due diligence. Maybe some of them have had it and they feel like, you know what, I've already had it. I don't feel I need to get it, or I can go to the back of the line. But all of these things need to be explored of why people aren't getting this. Well, it's about control. It's about this. I'm not advocating that you get it. I've always said this. Look, you get it or don't get it. That's a you thing. For me, do I feel it's safe? Yeah, I do, because we always go back to the same thing. It's the lawyers, right? If the lawyers sign off on something, because lawyers love to lawyer. And lawyers are in the business of telling companies no. Hey, we're going to do this. No. Hey, we want to do this. No. Hey, I think this is legal. It's not. That's what lawyers are in the business of. But if we have a plain, singular look as far as, hey, we're moving forward. Hey, we're going to get out there. We're going to do stuff, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to get ourselves back up and running, and the economy is going to be in decent shape. It's going to take a while to get back to where we were. But along the way, everybody's going to have access. And if you choose not to get this, that is your choice as an individual, as a family, whether it's religion. Some people may be allergies. Other people maybe because they think you're going to turn into a lizard, or the DNA is going to change you where you grow a tail and you don't believe in God. some of the things I've heard. That's a you thing. But we're not going to stop everything to protect everyone. We just can't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Continue to laugh because the giant guinea pig has spoken.
When I see, there's a perfect shadow cast of me. 6 more weeks of winter there will be.
Yay! The guinea pig has spoken. Winter is never leaving the Northeast. You're going to be stuck in awful weather for the foreseeable future. Because the guinea pig, who is a licensed meteorologist, told me so. I don't think he told you so. I know. I'm just saying. It is kind of funny, though. And I say that because it's 78 today here. It's gorgeous. When I went outside today, producer Phil, when I went outside, you ready for this? It was 62 degrees at 3 in the morning.
It was 32 degrees here.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What's going on with travel? Cold? Yeah.
About 300 flights canceled into and out of the New York area. Mass transit also faced some big shutdowns, especially those above ground trains. A lot of that service is going to be resuming today as well.
Lots of stuff going on with travel. Fun times. 78. Going to be 81 here tomorrow. But we're going to cool down to 69 on Thursday. I might have to wear pants. Probably won't, though. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. One of the big things going on, the executive orders. Biden got all over Trump on executive orders. He did. He got all over Trump on executive orders, yet his pens are running out of ink. They are. And one of the big ones is immigration. And it's been very frustrating, and this has been, to me, when I heard him talk about a pathway to citizenship, I said, I can't do it. Now, I am all for, let's figure out how we fix immigration. Let's figure out how we give people a pathway to come here and work legally and return home. Let's give the opportunity to take advantage of both sides of Mexico and Canada and beyond, of not only trade, but potentially trading of opportunities for businesses. And I've got zero problems with that. The thought process of a pathway to citizenship, and I'm not talking about DACA. I've been on record for a very long time saying never want to send the kids home. And even though it's a flawed system, a majority of them only know this country as their home. And we should take advantage. We're educating them, and they're getting educated here. Don't want to lose that brain power. But the thought of, it's 11 million. I don't know how many it is. Don't tell me it's 11. I'm thinking it's closer to 20. But his executive ordering it up.
Today, President Biden will sign a series of actions based on immigration. The first one targets the Trump administration's controversial family separations policy. They will create a task force that tries to reunite these potentially hundreds of children who still remain separated from their families. But they say this was so bungled, they still don't have an exact tally of how many kids we are talking about. And they're also not making any promises to give any kind of legal status to these families.
The family side of things, that was a disaster, what Trump did. I understand. Remember, under Obama watch, it happened. It didn't happen immediately. And it happened because the judge says, look, after a certain amount of days in custody, kids can't stay with the parents. They got to. So there was things to that. I'm trying to give you guys the truth, not a bunch of crap. Yeah, those first sets of cages and everything, those are Obama's cages. But in saying all of that, not all these kids were separated at the border from their parents. Many of them were separated when the parents sent them on their way. This has been a disaster. I think we all realize that, and we should figure out how to fix it. But I also think some parents may not come forward. Well, my kid's there at this moment in time. I don't. So there's a lot that's going to go into this, and it's going to be tough to break it down. But the separation thing, no. A lot of what Trump did and the way he took it on, I absolutely agreed with. The whole thought process of you coming from Honduras and trying to seek asylum here, no. You've come to another country. You try to seek asylum there. Having them, there's a lot of things that I like that he did and a lot of things that just didn't work. Some of it, was mean-spirited. It just didn't work. We can do better, but we have to have a sovereign country. Catch and release is not real. It's just not. That doesn't work. Catch a fish today. Say, I'm going to release you. Hey, later on, once you come back in here so I can put you in my bucket and I can cook you later. Doesn't happen. Doesn't. We need real immigration reform, but along with reform, we need to make sure that we actually stick to the things that we put in place. Because too often than not, whether it's gun control, whether it's immigration and many others, we never enforce the laws we have. We always bitch about how we need to make more laws, or we just allow those laws to be on the books and don't do anything with them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. It's an amazing organization. They're out there fighting on your behalf for things like common sense immigration reform, making sure that, with all the chaos and craziness that and the money that's being spent, that, things like Social Security and Medicare are solvent. So when it's your time to use them, you can use them. They got benefits galore, retail, restaurant, hotel, travel discounts. Maybe you're under 65 and you need health insurance. They've got tons of ways to help you find the best out there and discounts across the board. Plus, they'll help you with things like Social Security, Medicare, how to sign up, walk you through all the steps. Join today. It's pennies a day. I think it's $16 for the year. That's nothing to join an organization that's out there fighting on your behalf for so many things and giving you great discounts. AMAC.US/Chad, AMAC.US/Chad, AMAC.US/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
The new team, which consists of just two lawyers, neither of them all that prominent or with any experience in anything like an impeachment trial, include David Schoen, who had represented Roger Stone and has told people that he believes the conspiracy theory that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered in prison. The other, Bruce Castor Jr., is a former prosecutor who was roundly criticized for his decision declining to prosecute Bill Cosby.
The Bill Cosby thing is one thing. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't get much into conspiracy theories. I find the entire situation with Jeffrey Epstein I don't think that's as open and shut. How's that? Is it fair to say, I don't know, could he have absolutely have just killed himself? Possibility. 100% there. And that's totally... Could something have happened to him? You'd be fooling yourself. You've got Prince Andrew. You've got the Clintons. You have a lot of powerful people outside of that in the finance world that you wouldn't recognize, but who have massive amounts of power and money that hung out with this scumbag. So, could it have happened? Possibility. But that's where Trump's at now when it comes to lawyers. He's going out, he's driving down the street, and he's seeing the bus stops, and it's like 1-800-Cinco. He's just calling them up. Hey, you want to defend me? It'll be awesome. And the reason his team quit, the first team is like, look, we're not going to argue you won. It's just, you didn't. It's not happening. It's not happening. And here's something that isn't really being covered, but here in Arizona, they've ordered 3 independent audits by Maricopa County of the machines. And they're going to look through them. Did anything untoward happen? Well, you're going to find out. But as far as impeachment goes, he's down to... It's like just searching, talking to people on TV. He's like, I played a character that was a lawyer. I'm not really in it. Yeah, I can't do any worse. Just get up there and tell him I won. $200 million almost, his legal defense, whatever. $10 million he has spent. And the rest of it's just been put away into whatever PAC. Was it Remake America Great Again or whatever so he's flush with some cash. He may need it. Let me go for other legal fees. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube and Facebook. We'll do a Facebook Live a little bit later today. And check that out. We're going to have fun with that one. What we can do? I don't know. But it'll be fun. I promise you that. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Did you at the time believe that high-level Democrats and celebrities were worshiping Satan, drinking the blood of children?
Anderson, I thought you did that. And I would like to apologize for that right now. So I apologize for thinking that you ate babies.
Yeah, which he doesn't do, by the way. Anderson doesn't eat babies. That's the insanity of some of the QAnon stuff. But think about this. So Anderson Cooper has this guy and asked him a question. Hey, just out of curiosity, did you think some of these things? Oh, I thought you did it. You thought I did it? Oh, it gets better.
You actually believe that I was drinking the blood of children?
Yes, I did.
Was it something about me that made you think that?
It's because Q specifically mentioned you, and he mentioned you very early on. He mentioned you by name, and from there, I'm going to be honest, people still talk about that to this day. There were posts about that just 4 days ago. So some people thought you were a robot.
A robot? How good do you think you could make things? I'm curious about that. I mean, how good do you think he's a robot? That's some of the stuff some of these people thought, and they believed. And you start digging deeper, and I think Anderson the entire time he's just wow. It gets nuttier.
You really believed this?
I didn't just believe that. I, at one stage, believed that QAnon was part of military intelligence, which is what he says. But on top of that the people behind them were actually a group of fifth-dimensional, intradimensional, extraterrestrial, bipedal bird aliens called blue avians. I was so far down in this conspiracy black hole that I was essentially picking and choosing whatever narrative that I wanted to believe in.
There are things out there that when you talk about, say, for instance, conspiracy, Epstein, did he or didn't he? There are questions that we can have about that. Powerful guy, hanging out with powerful people, getting sweetheart deals when it comes to underage sex, statutory rape, and there are all kinds of questions about, basically pedophilia island, and there's a ton of questions. That stuff is, you're out there. You're out there. Interdimensional, there's a question there. We're going to ask about that. Do we have different dimensions? You talk to quantum physics and teachers and doctors, and they say, you know what? A lot of them think, hey, we're another dimension, or we may be an avatar and just a simulation. I mean, but bird people. I mean, that's the craziness. And what the Democrats have done is the same things the Republicans have done. So the Republicans have gone and done what? They have branded Bernie, the leader of the party, of the Democrats, and he's independent. I mean, he's super left. It's too left for them, but he caucuses with the Democrats. That's basically, he has nowhere else to go. And that AOC, Rashid Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ariana Presley, they represent everything that is the Democrats, and they're all socialist and communist. And that's what the Republicans and Trump and everybody did, and that's what the left is now doing because they have their QAnon person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as part of their world. And now they're painting her to be everything that is every Republican.
McConnell just unleashed a scathing attack against Republican Congresswoman QAnon supporter Marjorie Taylor Greene. He pointed directly at her without actually calling her by name. It's pretty clear, though, who he's talking about. In a statement released by his office, McConnell said, and I quote, "Loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party and our country. Somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not living in reality. This has nothing to do with the challenges facing American families or the robust debates on substance that can strengthen our party."
And why is that? Well, because for the news, I mean, look, if it wasn't for the news reporting cuckoo and the AOCs of the world and their, oh my God, Ted Cruz tried to have me murdered. I mean, that's just as insane as anything else. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't know about it. There's many people paying attention. But it's great because the villain's gone, right? The orange guy's gone. I mean, he's got his impeachment, but nobody's going to be paying attention. We know where this thing is going. So you have to have different villains. And there's no one singular villain, so you build up. So let's just make every Republican out to be a QAnon nut job, which is not true, Meghan McCain.
The more that the mainstream media continues to come out and say that all Republicans are birthers and crazy people and we believe in space lasers, then the more it makes traditional Republicans, and there's still a lot of them in the country, go back into their corners. And this is becoming very tribal. And I would argue that this is how we got Trump in the first place, is that there's just no nuance in it.
Yeah. Space lasers may be real. I mean, we do have a space force. And I would be cool with space lasers. I think most of us would be. Wouldn't you like to know there were always. Have you seen the guy he's on TikTok and YouTube? He built an actual lightsaber. That thing's bad. Oh, that thing cuts all. So space. But I know what she's saying. When you're talking about interdimensional bird creatures and people that come here that are frog and, lizard people who run the world, it's and that is what Republicans believe. It's not. Just like it's no different that everybody who over there wants to get everybody who would like to see health care for everybody believes that, oh, by the way, we should give everybody everything. And that we should all live in, 12-story buildings that are provided by the government. And the government, they don't believe that. But when you paint the picture that way, because you have to have a monster. And the biggest monster of all, he's gone. Oh, he kind of still lingers, but without the access that he had where he's tweeting and he's YouTubing and he's all of the others, without that. So you need somebody new, and she fits it perfectly. She does. She fits it perfectly. She's great to be parried, right? So if you want a parody, hey, let's have some fun with Marjorie.
Congresswoman Greene, hard to say those words together. What are some of the theories you believe in and have been promoting?
How much time you got?
For you, very little.
Well, first off, I believe the Parkland shooting was a hoax. The teachers were actors and the children were dolls. I believe 9/11 was a hoax. Did anyone actually see it happen? I've also told my supporters that they should physically murder Nancy Pelosi. She's this lady I work with.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Thank you.
Oh, and this is a new one that just came out. I think that the California wildfires were caused by Jewish space lasers.
3 of those things that she says, you can look at her and you said, really? That's why you got Mitch McConnell. But this is where, Mitch, you need to come out, and if you're the leader, lead. You don't want any of this in your party. I don't want any of this in my party. You need to go. You need to go. This is not who we are. this is not who we are. And both sides need to take a real effort in reining in certain elements within their party who get so much of the press, good and bad, but mostly for the bad and the negativity, that's what you become in people's eyes, which doesn't help us. It doesn't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. What's going to happen? We're going to get some sort of stimulus in the coming days. I think we will. I don't know what that looks like. They talked. They sat down. Apparently, as they all chatted, they found common ground. But at the end of the day, it's still the ball's still in the Democrats' hands, and they can kind of do what they feel like they want to do. And how much they listen, I don't know.
Even if we go the reconciliation route, I bet you'll see a lot of their priorities in the bill. So I think the goal is to come up with a bill that reflects that everybody's been listened to.
Tim Kaine, and the budget reconciliation it's new, it's wonky, but essentially it's got some limitations, but you need 51 majority to get it through. And the way it works is pretty simple. We're going to vote on the amount of money, and then we're going to put it together afterwards. What we can and can't do. There's some things you can't do with it, but it has to do with budget and raising ceilings, debt ceilings, and things like that. But that's kind of what that you can do. I think it's been a while, like 2011 or something's the last time they used it. So that's something they may do. That's not a bipartisan thing, even though they'll have stuff in there they like. But you've got to find, if you're a Republican and you're worried about the amount of money being spent, what you really need to do on top of all of that, even if you think, hey, we're not going to stop this, but we can do, let them get a lot of the stuff that they want. But let's put parameters on how they can spend it so we have a better handle on it and it's spent wisely as opposed to unwisely, because that to me is the bigger frustrating thing. We have a spending problem, but the way that we spend is also a massive waste. We throw money away because it's other people's money. You're going to gamble with somebody else's money in a way different way than you'll gamble with yours. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of that, what's happening with GameStop, we'll touch on that. And I think a real question when it comes to what's going on with GameStop, but investing across the board and how it's viewed. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I'm happy fans are back in the building. I miss that interaction. I need that interaction. We as players need that interaction. I don't feel like it was warranted to be kicked out. There was a back and forth between two grown men, and we said our piece. He said his piece. I said my piece, and then someone else jumped into it and said their piece. But I didn't think they were should have been kicked out. But they might have had a couple of drinks, maybe.
Yeah, LeBron got into it with. I'm sure somebody's going to call her Karen. The Hawks game last night. So not a lot of people in the stands. So you hear everything now. Somebody shouting, LeBron, the refs, the back and forth. Look, as an athlete, that's part of it. Now, people go too far. There's no doubt that people go too far. Having lived in Europe, played soccer over there, people do. I mean, they go way too far and they do things. She got into it. So there's the guy in the crowd arguing, and then this lady got into it, and you could tell I think she had a few pops. But he didn't seem too bothered by it. I think people wanted to make it a lot more. But she's going to be the new Karen. You watch today, everywhere. She's going to be the new Karen. The new Karen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. The fallout still of Robinhood. What's going on with Robinhood or not going on with Robinhood? Right now, GameStop getting thumped. Just letting you guys know that.
And you think the little guy got screwed, and if it was reversed and the big guy and the hedge funds were making billions, nobody presses the pause button. That's what everybody thinks. That's what I think. And that's what I still think, because it's just rationally how you expect it. Nobody's protecting. I've never heard, oh, the big guys are making too much money too quickly, so we got to stop.
Actually, that does happen. And that's Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, on with Fredo Cuomo. It does happen. Sometimes they'll hit when it collapses, when it goes up in certain ways. They will. There's an automatic for certain things. In the marketplace itself, it will have a cool down period. It's happened. Saw it during this time, last year or just after this, when the market took a. It happens. It does. Remember that big sell-off for several days we had? We dropped down from 30,000 to 19,000. It does happen. And the reason's pretty simple. Robinhood didn't have the cash to back up all the trades. That was it. They weren't some evil, hey, we got to protect the hedge fund. No, they didn't have the cash. They were underfunded and not liquid. They had to take out another $2.5 billion from investors yesterday to continue to cover trades. That's what they had to do. And I'm all about risk. Let me tell you something. Dave Portnoy talks about it.
I didn't know that you could stop trading like how they did. So for a lot of people, the rules changed. We're fine doing risk. We're fine putting the money in, but we think we're playing under a set of rules that exist one way, and in reality, they didn't. As far as people risking their money, and I've heard every old school trader, old Wall Street say is going to end in tears and you're leading these people to doom. Facts are we've been more right than anybody else. So, it's a risk. You have to know. And I always say, same breath, don't put in more than you can lose. Never do that.
But people do, because several reasons. One, it's emotion. People that threw money at this at $300, and I got people tweeting at me saying, you need to shut up. You don't know anything about this. One guy telling me, you don't know, you've probably never been in the market, and I'm just laughing. It's sad because you see what's going on. You see how this was going to play out. But if you're willing to risk it, I've never had a problem with that. But there are parameters that are out there inside of the marketplace to not just protect. No, there are things that they look at, but it's also about the companies like Robinhood, who, for all intents and purposes, just didn't have the cash. They've got to float it. And when people start losing money, maybe I'm not going to send that check in. Maybe I'm not going to, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. One guy says, I'm throwing everything at it, Chad. Price predictions by 0205, GameStop, $7.85, AMC, $38. GameStop right now, $128, down $100. It'll fluctuate. And AMC, which is the movie company, also getting hammered, down to $7.77. Risk reward. People are like, well, it's new. No, it's not new. Trading has been around forever. Individuals have had opportunities to trade forever. Understanding it, because normally people that got into it were a little bit more nuanced, but this is the gamification of trading right now. And that makes things a lot different because it's easy. But for so many of these people, it was an us versus them, and it felt more about revenge against the hedge funds and against the big bailouts than it did about, hey, you know what? Let's do a Eddie Murphy and a Dan Aykroyd in the Trading Places. We'll make some money. For so many people, it's about being right, not about being rich. And you're going to play a game that you're going to get your ass handed to you. Some people are going to do fine, but a lot of people got in way too late because they wanted to virtue signal trade and show them, but also make a bunch of money, and they chased a dragon they're not going to chase anymore because it's gone. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Have a blessed, wonderful day. It's Tuesday. Go get tacos. Night, night, Jack.
The This is The Chad Benson Show.